Everyone, my name is Sasha. It is a great pleasure to be here along with all of you guys, and I 100% agree with what has been stated so far by Majo. I'm a strong believer in our generation, and I see that the older generation is living a world that is great, but that leaves a lot of room for change, positive change, and I think we have the power to do that. And green hydrogen is one of the tools that can help us to change the world for the better. Before this conference, to be honest, I had zero idea about what green hydrogen is. I didn't know that it was a great source of energy. I'm not the physics student, I'm an economics student, so I didn't really know the process behind it. But now that I've been here for the past 2 days, I understand that the mechanisms behind green hydrogen are not as complicated as I thought they were. And in terms of financing, we can adapt the markets that we had for the carbon and readapt them to be opt for green hydrogen to finance it, that the technology is already there, we just need to use it, and that we need to get the governments to be involved to set regulations for two very important things. First of all, we have to reduce the way carbon is used today, and second of all, we have to drive the demand for hydrogen, because especially with youth, not a lot of people even know what hydrogen is. So if we can first raise the awareness of that amongst the youth, and then if we're talking about the older generations, if we can drive the demand for hydrogen among the companies and make the use of hydrogen, in fact, a low coster for production, this would be a great step to start. I would like to bring forward the example of electric cars and how in the beginning they were thought to be a madness, and yet now it is something that a lot of people use, and how in Norway there are regulations that drive up the demand for electric cars. And we're talking about the owners of the electric cars being allowed to drive on the bus lane and on the taxi lane. Of course, with hydrogen, it's a bit more difficult, but there is the shipping industry, which is kind of similar to the bus and the taxi lane. And if we introduce regulations that would allow people who are in the shipping industry to have the easier routes, or maybe, for example, staying in port for a lower rent, then we can guarantee that the shipping industry as well is involved in the hydrogen use. We have the electricity industry that can be adapted, and the reason I think we're all here today is because we understand how complex and yet how simple it can be if we all work together. So once again, it is a great pleasure, and I think that this document is a great start to this journey. Thank you.
Thank you so